The seven sages or seven wise men was the title given by ancient Greek tradition to seven early 6th century BC philosophers, statesmen, and lawgivers who were renowned in the following centuries for their wisdom. The seven sages, traditionally, each of the seven sages represents an aspect of worldly wisdom which is summarized by an aphorism. Although the list of sages sometimes varies, the ones usually included are the following: Cleobulus of Lindos, moderation is best in all things. He governed as tyrant of Lindos, in the Greek island of Rhodes, c. 600 BC. Solon of Athens, nothing in excess. Solon was a famous legislator and reformer from Athens, framing the laws that shaped the Athenian democracy. Chilon of Sparta, do not desire the impossible. Chilon was a Spartan politician from the 6th century BC, to whom the militarization of Spartan society was attributed. Bias of Priam, most men are bad. Bias was a politician and legislator of the 6th century BC. Thales of Miletus, know thyself. Thales is the first well-known philosopher and mathematician. His advice, know thyself, was engraved on the front facade of the Oracle of Apollo in Delphi. Pittacus of Mytilene, know thy opportunity. Pittacus governed Mytilene along with Micyllus. He tried to reduce the power of the nobility and was able to govern with the support of the popular classes, whom he favored. Periander of Corinth, be far-sighted with everything. Periander was the tyrant of Corinth in the 7th and 6th centuries BC. During his rule, Corinth knew a golden age of unprecedented stability. Sources and legends. The oldest explicit mention on record of a standard list of seven sages is in Plato's Protagoras, where Socrates says, "There's some, both at present and of old, who recognize that Spartanizing is much more a love of wisdom than a love of physical exercise, knowing that the ability to utter such, brief and terse remarks belongs to a perfectly educated man." Among these were Thales of Miletus, and Pittacus of Mytilene, and Bias of Priam, and our own Solon, and Cleobulus of Lindos, and Myson of Chiene, and the seventh of them was said to be Chilon of Sparta. They all emulated and admired and were students of Spartan education, could tell their wisdom was of this sort by the brief but memorable remarks they each uttered when they met and jointly the first fruits of their wisdom to Apollo in his shrine at Delphi, writing what is on every man's lips, know thyself, and nothing too much. Why do I say this? Because this was the manner of philosophy among the ancients, a kind of laconic brevity. The passage in which the above occurs has been described as elaborately ironical, making it unclear which of its aspects may be taken seriously, although Diogenes Laertius later confirms that there were indeed seven such individuals who were held in high esteem for their wisdom well before Plato's time. According to Demetrius Phalereus, it was during the archonship of Damasias that the seven first become known as the wise men, Thales being the first so acknowledged. Diogenes points out, however, that there was among his sources great disagreement over which figures should be counted among the seven. Perhaps the two most common substitutions were to exchange Periander or Anachasis for Myson. On Diogenes' first list of seven, which he introduces with the words "these men are acknowledged wise," Periander appears instead of Myson. The same substitution appears in the Masque of the Seven Sages by Ausonius. Both Ephorus and Plutarch substituted Anachasis for Myson. Diogenes Laertius further states that Dicaearchus gave 10 possible names, Hierobocus suggested 12 names, and Hermippus enumerated 17 possible sages from which different people made different selections of 7. Leslie Kirk contends that Aesop was a popular contender for inclusion in the group. An epigram of the 6th century AD poet Agathias refers to a statue of the 7 sages, with Aesop standing before them. Later tradition ascribed to each sage a pithy saying of his own, but ancient as well as modern scholars have doubted the legitimacy of such ascriptions. A compilation of 147 maxims, inscribed at Delphi, was preserved by the 5th century AD scholar Stobaeus as sayings of the 7 sages, but the actual authorship of the maxims set up on the Delphian temple may be left uncertain. Most likely they were popular proverbs, which tended later to be attributed to particular sages. In addition to being credited for pithy sayings, the wise men were also apparently famed for practical inventions. In Plato's Republic, it is said that it befits a wise man to have many inventions and useful devices in the crafts or sciences attributed to him, citing Thales and Anacharsis the Scythian as examples. According to a number of moralistic stories, there was a golden tripod which was to be given to the wisest. Allegedly, it passed in turn from one of the 7 sages to another, beginning with Thales, until one of them finally dedicated it to Apollo, who was held to be wisest of all. According to Diogenes, Dicaearchus claimed that the 7 were neither wise men nor philosophers, but merely shrewd men, who had studied legislation. And according to at least one modern scholar, the claim is correct, with the exception of Thales. No one whose life is contained in Diogenes' book I, that is none of the above, has any claim to be styled a philosopher. See also, sage. References. External links: Diogenes Laertius, Lives of the Eminent Philosophers, Book IA The 7 Sages, translated by Robert Drew Hicks. Plutarch's The Dinner of the 7 Wise Men, in the Loeb Classical Library. 7 Sages of Greece with illustrations and further links. Jonah Lendering's article 7 Sages includes a chart of various canonical lists. Sentences of the 7 Sages.